but it is the most teched out vehicle. Let's talk about my car, shall we? The Hyundai Ioniq 6 that doesn't have a license plate on the front. I have been driving electric vehicles for, God, ages, and this was the next one on the list, given that they just discontinued the Chevy Bolt, which was full electric. I loved that vehicle, and in doing research, realized that Hyundai had some alternative that I thought would be viable. I went with the Ioniq 6 over the Ioniq 5 because it was a better deal, even though I wanted the Ioniq 5 because there's a heads-up display. That was probably my number one disappointment when I got into the Ioniq 6, was there was no heads-up display. I'm like, dude, oh, those things are so cool. Driving this vehicle has been a dream. It's probably a little larger than I might have wanted, but it is probably the most teched-out vehicle that I've been in, and I say that every time I get in a new car. Not that I'm a car reviewer, not that I'm a car aficionado at all, but, you know, I am into clean energy as much as I possibly can be. And the idea that I don't have to go to the gas station is great. I haven't been someone who takes long road trips, so needing to quote-unquote refuel or go to different electric stations to recharge isn't so much of an issue today, at least with infrastructure. And by the time that might become an issue for me, I may be moving on to the next electric vehicles, because I usually have them for about 3 years at a time. I love the dashboard the most in this vehicle. Analog gauges annoy the hell out of me. I'm not into reading analog time. I just like, I need to know the time. Okay, it's 10:27 a.m. I know exactly what that is, because I can read it on the screen loud and clear, big, bold numbers. I love that. If I got to figure out and do all the thinking with the, you know, the hands, I think is what they call them, right? The analog hands. I got enough problems with my hands moving around here talking about cars. Wireless charging for your phone, you just put it on the slab, but unfortunately not wireless display, at least for Android Auto. It does support CarPlay as well. It does have certain features that I think are critical for me, including the speed limit, the current speed limit of where we might be at any given time. So right now it says speed limit 25 because we're next to a park, but that'll change, of course. And if you go over the speed limit, I feel it should kind of change state a little better, but the black lettering actually turns red, so you know you're going over without actually having to look at the speedometer, which is, you know, clearly right there. Oops, I just turned it off. The gear shift, if they still call it that, is here. Simply slip the knob backwards. Love the rear cameras. You also have like the bird's eye view here, and I'm still getting used to trusting these, even though I've been using these types of things for years. I still look behind me and I still check the blind spots. When you have the feature, you can't live without it, and that's what I love about technology in the car, is that it has made driving very easy. I'm a rider more so than a driver, but you're really missing out on the features you don't realize you're missing out on until you actually use them. Backing out is very easy. It's just you put it into reverse and you back out. It'll warn you. You know, it'll let you know if something's going on here. In fact, the vehicle it'll stop. I did that. But what will happen is if it detects something behind you, it'll do that. I mean, even if it's someone that's walking, 20 feet behind me, it'll stop, like, abruptly. I'm just going to talk through the features as I'm driving, as I'm using them. I love the adaptive cruise. I use it all the time. But the controls, I got to admit, are really fiddly. I was really used to the Chevy Bolt and Volt way of doing things, which were perfect. Like, they were very intuitive, and I don't think Hyundai has done a very good job with the intuitiveness of certain features in the controls. I do rave about the technology in the car, but I will say it's almost overkill. And I don't mean it in a bad way. It's like there's just so many features and so many things that you can configure. So if you're all about configuration and stuff, this car is a dream come true, because you can tweak dang near everything, and there's so many options and menus that even I get lost. I'm not even sure if there's a search feature for, what you can do in the vehicle and tweak things electronically. On the regular dashboard, I have everything that I might need, right? I can see my range, the torque. I can change driving modes, including to snow mode. Let me go ahead and turn on the defrosters. It's got the option to just have the fans blow on the driver's side, which is great, again, for energy efficiency. And the neat thing is, with that, I have a constant readout of my projected distance, like how far I can go on the current charge, which is great. But you'll notice that it'll say fan on and off. So if I turn off the fan, watch the range completely increase. So Everything that you use is kind of like Apollo 13. Like every bit of energy that you use is going to come out of the distance. It'll tell you how far it is before you can get to the next possible charging station. Although that's always a gamble. Look, yield pops up in the roundabout. So it lets me know, okay, got to yield, which of course I did. This is what I love about the turn signal. You get a blind spot view, both right and left. It's fantastic. So that way you don't have to check the blind spot. It will warn you. It'll let you know. And even here, you'll see there's the car, the representation of the car in the color, white, which is not my favorite color for a car. But there's a block ahead of me. That block, it represents the vehicle in front of me. And it will show, as we drive, vehicles in their position relative to our vehicle, as well as, if there's a vehicle in the blind spot. So this is really interesting, especially when you're on the highway. So you can see it's very subtle, but the car in front of me is moving slightly ahead. And then it's saying, hey, there's something in the blind spot there. It was warning me. But on the freeway, it's very, very nice because you just get a better idea positionally of like where everything is. You can step outside of the vehicle and actually maneuver it. So like if you were parallel parked, let's say, and you needed to jog it up just a little bit without being in the vehicle, you could use the remote key fob to actually move the car. There's also a feature that I grew accustomed to as a creature comfort called one pedal driving, where you don't have to keep your foot on the brake. You just ease off the gas. And that's also adjustable in the vehicle. So you can turn that off if you want, but I don't, because it just makes it easier. So I've learned to brake, and I've done this in other vehicles, certainly the Chevy Bolt. But when I take my foot off the accelerator, it feels like I put the foot on the brake. And then to go the rest of the way, I just tap the pedal here, and my foot didn't touch the brake at all to come to a gentle stop. So it saves energy. It's a more efficient way of driving. That's where technology in a vehicle shines, when it makes it a better experience. And by and large, I feel like the features that they've provided in the Ioniq 6 have been not just egregious, not just, hey, it's tech. No, it adds up to a better driving experience, especially, for someone like me. All these things that just add up to make it easier. And I think as we move forward, physically, move forward into a future of self-driving vehicles, I don't know if we are necessarily there yet. A lot of these features, they feel like they're iterative or building towards that. And I'm all for it. I'm probably the only person on the planet, well, maybe not the only one, but I'm all about, the idea of self-driving, because I'm what they would call a passenger princess. I don't know if you knew about this as a term that's used. I'm happy if someone else drives. I don't want to drive. I'm not a big driver. So when I do the driving, I want to be in a car that is going to give me everything that I need at my fingertips and not be a pain in the ass. Moonroof, sunroof, whatever the hell they call this thing. The roof that you can see through. Oh, this guy's got his hazards on. Speaking of hazards, I love the fact that the hazard button is giant here, because like I've been in vehicles, I'm like, where the hell's the hazard? You can't find it. They put it like right there. You can't miss it, and I love that. You've got to remind me to tell you how you could use your smartphone as a digital key for the car, which I think I just explained, so I don't need to explain it again. I really don't know if you're interested in any of these menu items, apart from maybe Hyundai Pay, which is yet another way to pay for things that I'm never going to use. For now, the only menu item I'm interested in is, I'm getting it, an Impossible Whopper. It is Whopper Wednesday. I am not a burger influencer, fast food influencer in general, nor am I a car influencer. I'm not an influencer. Influencer is a word that marketers made up. I'm a creator. Influence is a byproduct. I hate the term influencer. Hate it. It's a byproduct. I might influence something, but that doesn't make me I guess technically it makes me an influencer, but don't call me an influencer. I'm a creator, and right now I'm a burger eater. Why is this interesting? It's impossible. It's impossible. Why? Because still vegan after all these years. Oh, okay, $3 will get you an Impossible Whopper, or a regular Whopper, every Wednesday. $3! Every Wednesday. This is my treat. I think the only thing that's impossible around here is me carrying a tune. Dude, almost 20,000 steps today. I certainly hope you keep watching.